Hey folks, it's Rob. Welcome back. We're continuing our series today on the Monstrous Compendium Appendix for the Mystara setting from 1994 TSR. Thank you for joining me here for episode 26. We're continuing on page 72 and 73 today, where we have lizardkin. Not lizard men. No, I understand your confusion. Lizard men, classic monster. Certainly in various collections of monsters in the books, but and they go way back. I mean, I believe that they're in the Blackmore setting, um, which is the proto setting for the known world, in a way. Not to get into spoilers, but these are lizard kin, so they're kind of like them, but they're not the same. And um, I believe, I believe at least some of these are related to the beastmen you find inside the Hollow World, which is inside the known world Mystara setting. Well, boy, we're already off on a massive tangent. As you can see, we have 4 pictured types of lizard men. Two described in the stat block. There's actually only 2 pictured, one of which is quite colorful looking and reminds me a lot of. Um, Basically, I think there was an article in like the Best of Dragon, which was just collected articles from earlier Dragon issues, the Dragon magazine, uh, and it was either for Metamorphosis Alpha or it was for Gamma World. But definitely, I remember seeing this kind of splotchy, multicolored look on something. I would have to go and find it. My Dragon magazines are stored currently. Hmm. Right. Anyhow, comments below if you know what the heck I'm talking about. Once again, the pictures are significantly faded over what I'm holding in my hand, which means that this yellow and green lizard man is very washed out and pale and almost ghostly in places. And he's holding a blue scimitar, which is also just washed out and lost. Uh, the the other one with all the color splotches and markings and how can I say this, a fro, um, is also just significantly darker toned in the what I'm looking at in my hand. But you know, it conveys the point, I suppose, even if it is not the tone. Shame. Once again, it'd be great if we could get a new scan of this, but this is what we have, right? So we work with what we got. Let's get into the stat blocks. So we have 4 types. We have Cayman, we have Chameleon Man, we have Gator Man, and we have Sis'thik, which I'm hopefully saying correctly. We'll see. Um, don't see a pronunciation guide for the Sis'thik, so I'm just gonna have to roll with it. Okay. Let's go through some stat blocks. So a cayman is found in temperate or subtropical swamp or forests. They are uncommon. They have villages. They are active at any time. They are omnivorous. They are of average intelligence, 8 to 10. Treasure type K in their community. Um, they are neutral and just pure neutral, right? Now I don't believe they are I mean they are average intelligence. I believe these are all intelligent. You know, uh, I don't want to call them hominids because they are not hominids, right? You know what I mean? Bipeds, intelligent bipeds. Um, but they are true neutral. So neutral, and that's easy to translate to old classic D&D. 10d6 appear. Armor class 7, movement 9, hit dice 2 to hit AC 0, 19. They get 1 attack. Their damage per attack is a D3 bite or by weapon. I would expect them generally to be using weapons, personally. But maybe you've caught them without any. Their special attack is by surprise. Special defense is stealth. Their magic resistance, they don't have any. They are size small. They are only 1 foot tall. Itty bitty tinies. Morale, average, 9. XP value, 65, but 175 for a shaman version. Shaman versions will have the ability to cast certain spells, right? Hopefully the description will get into that further. I didn't expect them to be only 1 foot tall. They're little Smurf people. Right. Chameleon Man. They're found in non-Arctic woods, plains, or caverns. Okay. They are rare. They are organized in clans. Their activity cycle is any. They are omnivorous. Again, average intelligence 8 to 10. Now, it's E in their community or lair, but they can carry Q or S treasure. Alignment neutral. 2d4 appear. Armor class 10. That's functionally unarmored for this setting. Movement 12. Hit dice 2. To hit AC 019. Number of attacks 1. By weapon. They don't bother to bite you or strike you with their fists, I guess. If you want to do that for the monster, and I'm using monster in quotation marks here, treat it like a person. So their special attack is Dimension Door, which is neat. And they don't have a special defense or magic resistance. They are size medium at 7 feet tall, so, a bit taller than average human. Morale is average at 10. XP value is 120 for a standard one, but 175 for a bodyguard and 420 for a leader. Gator Man. They're found in tropical or subtropical swamps. Oddly enough, what would them be gators? Frequency rare. They organize in villages. They're active at night. They are carnivores. They are lower intelligence, 5 to 7. Treasure type M in their lair. They are chaotic evil, so fun. Number appearing 1d6. You get an armor class of 3 from Gator Man. Gator Man moves at 12 on land and swims at 18, so that's fast moving in the water. Hit dice 7, so formidable. To hit AC 0 is 13. Gets 2 attacks, a 2d4 bite, and by weapon plus 2. I'm guessing that's like a strength adjustment, really. No special attack, no special defense, no magic resistance. They are large and 8 feet tall, right? So they are actually large category. Their morale is champion at 15. The base XP value is 420, but a leader is worth 650. And now the Sis'thik. They are found in tropical or subtropical deserts. They are rare. They're organized in tribes. They're active at any time. They are omnivorous. They're of average intelligence 8 to 10. Treasure in their lair communities A. They are neutral evil. So think of that kind of like selfish and not above things like enslaving people. But, slavery is very classic lawful evil. But it doesn't have to be a set of laws for it to be. It can just be that they take on slaves, right? Number 3d6 appear. Armor class 5, 4 with armor, so apparently they will wear armor. Movement 9. Their hit dice is 3 plus 3. To hit AC 0 is 17. They get 1 or 3 attacks, so by weapon plus 2, or 1d6 for a claw, and 1d6 for another claw, and a d3 bite. And no special attacks. They are fire resistant as a special defense. No magic resistance. They are size medium, 6 feet tall, human size. They are elite morale at 13. Base Sis'thik is worth 175 XP. A bodyguard, 270. A shaman, 650. And a Sis'thik queen is worth 975 XP. So, let's get into the reading. The lizardkin of Mystara share an ancient lineage. The Chameleon Men are the oldest of these races. Some believe that Cayman, Gator Man, and Sis'thik, and standard lizard men all descend from a common ancestor related to Chameleon Men. Relations between lizard men and the four lizardkin races, however, range from indifferent at best to hostile at worst. Cayman. These reptilian humanoids stand about a foot tall, with bodies sheathed in rough brown or green skin. Their black, pupilless eyes boast infravision and a 90-foot range. Cayman are intelligent and sociable, dwelling together in villages. Their native language sounds as simple hisses and chitters to other creatures. Fortunately, Cayman also speak common. In addition, some may know the languages of subterranean creatures living nearby. Combat. Cayman usually avoid combat except in self-defense or when protecting their villages, territory, or food sources. When pressed, they use bone weapons, usually small javelins and large daggers. Each weapon inflicts 1d6 points of damage. In general, Cayman dislike frontal assaults. They prefer surprise an opponent, making a few quick attacks, then flee. All Cayman can move silently and hide in shadows with a 40% chance of success. They use these skills to evade combat or to surprise foes with whom they must fight. Those attacked by a concealed Cayman suffer a -2 penalty to surprise rolls. Habitat/society. Cayman build underground villages of tunnels and chambers 1 to 2 feet high. They protect these layers with palisades of packed dirt and woven reeds. The walls have many entrances, all of them the equivalent of concealed doors. Each Cayman village includes 10d6 adults and half that many non-combatant offspring. Immature Cayman reach adulthood in 1 year. Villages are led by a shaman, equivalent to a priest of 5th to 7th level. These shamans live longer than the average Cayman, 60 years as opposed to normal 40-year lifespan, so their hides grow tough and improve their armor class to AC 6. With a shaman in a Cayman party, the creature's morale increases by 1 point. Not only do the better warriors use bone weapons and tools, they wear bone and feather headdresses. The more elaborate the headdress, the greater the warrior, though these Cayman avoid wearing such adornments in battle, not wishing to alert the enemy to their superior abilities. These lizardkin get along well with gnomes and tolerate lizard men. However, due to the Cayman's small size, evil subterranean races often take them as slaves. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely evil subterranean, like Duergar, right? Ecology. Cayman enjoy eating giant-sized reptiles and amphibians, but sometimes fall prey themselves to large predators. They make reliable guides in swamps. Well, I could totally see that. In fact, I can see these as like a twist on fey creatures, honestly. Except they're not fey, right? They aren't fairies. They're just 1 foot tall lizard people who, pygmy lizard people that live in the swamp. And your party needs to like find something in there or get through. They're neutral. They're willing to, and intelligent and speak. They could be negotiated with. They don't need to be defeated, or they could surrender. Right? If you do end up in a combat situation, they can just simply be cede over the authority of the party and surrender. Either way, they don't have to be destroyed for your party to interact with these guys, these little Caymans. So I'm guessing they're not pictured. Let's move on to Chameleon Man. The reclusive Chameleon Men possess a bit of dragon ancestry. In their homes far from human and demi-human civilizations, they generally can avoid contact with strangers. Chameleon Men stand 7 feet tall, and their spindly arms and legs make them look quite thin. They move with a stride that other races find gangling and awkward. Chameleon Men have multicolored, somewhat scaly skin with stripes of many colors, red, blue, green, yellow, brown, orange, black, and white, though few chameleon have every possible hue. The colors seem to shift and swirl when the creatures walk, a trick of the light as it plays off their scales. So I would call that like scintillating, much like how you can see like an oil slick, right? Um, not to be put it back to base Earth, but definitely that's one of the two pictured creatures here. Um, Combat. Chameleon men usually arm themselves with light weapons, daggers, spears, or clubs. They never wear armor, as it interferes with their natural abilities. They would rather blend in with the scenery than fight openly. Now, at this point, we are at the top of page 73 for those of you following along. I know this isn't exactly the sharpest image you're looking at if you were trying to read this, but it is legible on a big enough screen. By far the most useful feature of the Chameleon Men remains their vanishing ability, which they use to avoid combat or to surround opponents. Each round, a Chameleon Man can vanish and reappear up to 120 feet away. This ability essentially mirrors the wizard spell Dimension Door, with a 120-foot range limitation. I believe that's normally 360 feet on Dimension Door. So yeah, it's a short-range Dimension Door. The creatures wield such precise control over this ability that they never reappear in midair or inside solid objects, which can be a limitation of Dimension Door. Of course, a Chameleon Man cannot appear in the exact spot as someone or something else. These lizardkin cannot attack in the round in which they use this ability. Chameleon Man leaders, or Lords of Shade and Hue, Lords of Shade and Hue, I like it, have 4 hit dice and 1d20 plus 10 constant bodyguards with 3 hit dice. Leaders can blend in with any natural background and have a 90% chance to remain undetected while unmoving. Lords and their bodyguard have an morale of average 9. Habitat/Society. All Chameleon Man settlements feature a magical site called a tuku. The tuku of a cave-dwelling clan might be a special grotto that glistens with arcane crystals. Forest dwellers might revere an ancient tree of strong magic. These sites always radiate magic and enable Chameleon Men to fight with a +2 bonus of attack and damage rolls. While fighting for their tukus or homes, their morale rises to fearless 20, effectively unbreakable. Once a year, Chameleon Men shed their skin, much as a lizard does. They save the skin for a vital purpose, reproduction. As this race has no female gender, Chameleon Men reproduce by placing their old skins in their clan's tuku. The offering has a 60% chance of magically transforming into a young chameleon man, which grows to maturity in just 8 weeks. See, here I am thinking we're just using Chameleon Man like we use Lizard Man, because that's, No, they are men. Okay. Heterodyne men. Right. Ecology. Chameleon Man enjoys watching over old woods and caverns, maintaining the harmony of nature. They are sometimes hunted by lizardmen who fear their ability to vanish. These lizardkin subsist on crops they cultivate and fish. Less scrupulous wizards prize a Chameleon Man's skin as a component for making robes of blending. Gator Man. Gator men, horrible, lizard-like humanoids, result from magical experiments on lizardmen that went awry. The escapees have thrived, expanding their ranks into a new race. These lizardmen stand 7 to 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in dark green scales. They have alligator heads and mouths with prominent, sharp teeth. Slit-like black pupils split their red eyes. Gator men speak common and the language of lizardmen. They refuse to negotiate with strangers, preferring instead to attack unwary parties of humans and demi-humans. Combat. Gator men possess formidable strength, 18, and their bite causes 2d4 hit points of damage. Many carry large, crude swords, which they wield with a +1 bonus of attack and +2 damage to damage rolls. A huge specimen, the village chief, can cause 3d4 points of damage with its bite. A chief wields a sword with strength 19, gaining a +3 bonus to attack and +7 bonus to damage rolls. habitat/society. During experiments in which evil mages tried to fuse lizard men and alligators, several specimens managed to escape and fled to the swamps. Once there, they reproduced rapidly, overcoming all predators and competitors. Some tribes of Gator Men reportedly follow shamans with spellcasting abilities equivalent to those of 7th level clerics. Ecology. Gator Men consider themselves the mortal enemies of lizard men, usually attacking them on sight in an effort to drive the lizard men away from Gator Man homeland. Raiding parties of Gator Men often make sweeps of isolated settlements for fresh human meat to supplement their diet of lizards, alligators, and other animals native to swampland. So, they're, chaotic evil intelligent monsters, and boy, that'd be a different change of pace over, the usual kind of bugbears, orcs, whatever. But in this case, it's more of a. I mean, these are 7-hit dice, so this is more like giants, really. Because I'm like ogres, trolls. You could totally have this interact with a more neutral lizard man settlement inside the same swamp. Again, you're going to be playing with swamp setting. They are gators, but certainly an interesting challenge, especially on an individual basis. You get 3d6 of these in there, like the kind of tribe, and if there's not too many of them, the party, like an expert level party, should work out, right? Finally, we have the Sis'thik, which is the Desert Scourge. And that must be the one that's pictured next to the Chameleon Man. This pale-looking guy with the wispy clothing. In burning deserts live nomadic humanoids called Sis'thik, a proud race of reptilian warriors that fear nothing. Sis'thik have thick, leathery, light tan skin that lets them blend in with the arid terrain. Their nostrils can seal out dust, and transparent eye screens allow them to see in sandstorms. Combat. Female Sis'thik use scimitars in combat and sometimes employ shields, boosting their AC to 4. These females boast great strength, inflicting a +2 bonus to damage rolls using melee weapons. Males, if forced, attack with claws and bite. Normal fires do not affect Sis'thik, plus these lizardkin suffer only 1 point of damage per die of magical fire damage. So you throw a fireball at them, let's say it's 10th level fireball, so you roll 10d6. You just 1 point per die, so that's 10 points. Now, admittedly, the Sis'thik only has a 3+3 hit die, so I mean it's still a big deal at that point. But it'd be a shock to your party, right? They think fireball's a big answer to a lot of problems. Hey, not always. Still, I remember the first time I fired a fireball into a crowd of kobolds. Memories. Anyhow, habitat. Sis'thik tribes have 3d6 times 10 adult members, plus 4d6 non-combat children. Female Sis'thik control the tribes and do all the fighting. The males seem slow and stupid, existing only for mating and drudge work. Females do not reproduce often, considering how much other work they have to do. Most lay a clutch of 2d4 eggs every other year. Each Sis'thik tribe follows a queen with 8 hit dice, who receives a +3 bonus to damage rolls. The queen is accompanied at all times by 2d4 bodyguards, each with 4+1 hit dice. Each tribe also includes 1d4 shamans of 1st to 8th levels. Some Sis'thik tribes breed Zytar lizards as mounts. 2 Sis'thik can ride a single Zytar. In addition, these lizardkin have been known to cooperate with blue dragons, which is commonly found in desert and arid situations. Each Sis'thik tribe has its own territory. Any who wish to cross it must debase themselves before the queen and shower the tribe with gifts of wine, food, and metal items. Sis'thik sometimes build shelters of mud brick, usually near oases, and other resting places. They do not appreciate others using these structures without permission. So, you know, you might come to an oasis in the desert and it's completely unoccupied. That's because the nomadic tribe that would normally be there is not there currently. Now, are they going to be here in a day, in a week, in a month? Who knows? That's up to you. You're the DM. As always, but that if you need some mysterious structures that seem to be occasionally tended to, not of high, kind of primitive quality, at an oasis, that's what's going on. Ecology. Sis'thik prey on creatures such as antlions, camels, jackals, and wyverns. Or do you? I say wyvern. I suppose you could say wyvern. Up to you. Again, up to you. I don't think there's a correct pronunciation there on that. They savor the taste of copper dragon flesh, which has resulted in enmity between the two races. These lizards can also enjoy eating figs, dates, and cacti, which is, common desert kind of fare. Interesting, right? Can definitely use these. These are all in different little like their own little biomes, right? You're not going to find these outside their environments, and they are, you'd have to adjust them if you want to make bigger deals out of them. They are meant to be, all the lizard men really, are meant to be part of that lost world aspect of like, lizard men are meant to be kind of a more primitive society that your adventurers can encounter, and especially in wet environments, but sometimes it's just like in caverns or even in forests, or there might be lakes, rivers. But these last ones are found in deserts, which is definitely different and interesting. Meanwhile, the Chameleon Men are literal men who are in the backwoods and are like functionally lizard man elves, right? They're and yeah, caimans are like lizard man fairies, little pygmy people. But going by their description, even though they're not pictured, they sound a bit like the Sis'thik from Land of the Lost, if you remember that show. But not as big, right? They're only 1 foot tall. And what's 1 foot tall? Like 3 apples. That's why I said Smurf, right? Interesting. I mean, meanwhile, Gator Man just brings to mind, Batman and Killer Croc, right? Even though Killer Croc is a crocodile and Gator Man is clearly a gator. But, have fun with these. Make use of them. I hope you found this as interesting as I did. I know I enjoyed it. Once again, I thank you very much for joining me here and spending your time with me. I know you have many options, but YouTube appreciates, and I appreciate, if you hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed and you like my content, subscribing is an excellent way to know that when another video is going to drop, next week, or maybe I'll drop a bonus video sometime, and those come out whenever I put them out. And you may want to know, or maybe you don't. That's okay. You do you. I'm glad to have had this bit of your time. You have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.